All right, so lately I feel like I've been picking up on this vicious assertion of dominance. Um, and I think there's a lot of truth to it, but not to the extent of what I'm picking up on. Well, probably to the extent of what I'm picking up on, but it just, things are happening that usually don't go on. I'm feeling things that I usually don't feel. Just in the last week, it feels like somebody's getting something over on me, kind of like like just the feeling of them being satisfied. You know what I mean? Like, oh well, I see that made you feel like that, so that was good enough. You know what I mean? Like that's not that was good enough. It'll start back, but just that's what they were looking for. You know what I mean? It's just because it feels like I'm fighting something like like put them in their place, but they cannot fucking stop. And then at some point, it's just I just feel submitted. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that's what you needed. You know what I mean? And it feels like it's coming. A lot of it's coming from people that I used to be, that I used to know, or at least that I was in the immediate vicinity of. And this is one of the things I talk about in my paper, in my chapter, is that when you've been in the immediate vicinity of somebody, and then you arise from a violent backdrop, especially in a way that kind of defies what is normally expected of people, then that activates. You call it a retaliatory response. It activates a dominance assertion response. Okay, and so that the feeling of it is just, these people. It's just so infuriating, and it just got to the point where these people were, I found out that they were hacking my phone. They were watching me all the time. I mean, it's just to feel that going on. It's like you could be doing something productive with your life right now. And it just feels like, it just seems like what they ultimately got up to was just they dropped everything and pulled their resources to like figure out how to watch me all the time and then try to figure out how to kill me. And that type of, obsession, that type of endeavoring, that type of, dominance assertion, just the pettiness of it. And the whole reasoning behind it was because the government was trying to kill me, and I evaded that in a really kind of a spectacular way, And so that's at the heart of, what the whole problem is. You got out of that, and now, that's activating all kinds of stuff, So what I'm saying is just, I don't even know why I'm telling you this, but in the last few days, it just feels like, it almost feels like if I was a dog and I was looking through a fence and I saw another dog pee on a fire extinguisher right in front of my house. And it's like, that's my fire extinguisher, And then never being able to go back and pee on it, just having to watch. You know what I mean? And I know that sounds stupid, but on some level it doesn't bother me, or didn't. But now it's to the point where it does bother me, And the urge to continually fight, you know what I mean? The urge to, I think just, I don't know what that does, but it triggers something between both parties, It causes that like unending rage. You know what I mean? Like you could never just do more. Like that was what it, like you couldn't get any better than that. You couldn't do no better than that. You know what I mean? Like you're that pathetic, motherfucker. You're pathetic like that. You can't do no better than that. You can't see things no more clearly than that. What the fuck is wrong with you? You understand? No, you don't. I'm going to have to put something to your head and pull the fucking trigger before you ever get it. Okay? That's what it feels like. And I know that's fucking true. Okay? So we're probably going to have to kill some people. They were telling me that earlier when I was thinking about this. And it's just, it's that fucking problem. What is your major malfunction? Get it together. You don't even know what you're doing right now. You don't even know what you're thinking. You got yourself into a mile deep into a fucking bunch of shit. Okay? And you know better than that. On some level, you damn well know better than that. But see, even that, I know I can't reach somebody because I stuttered there a little bit when I was trying to talk about how deep you are in shit. See, somebody took a victory lap in that. Somebody. And that's what's going on. You know what I mean? It's just so lost. With you fucking people are so lost. And we can't get through to you. We can't just say, hey, just stop, man. Just fucking get it together. Just stop. It's not that big of a fucking deal. Why aren't you living your own life? Why aren't you doing your own thing? Why aren't you paying attention to what affects you? You understand? It doesn't affect you, man. Move along. Get something together in your head. Do some better than that. Better. You know what I mean? You have more to live for than that. Okay? But it just seems like they really don't. You know what I mean? And we're finding this with alien life forms as well. So by the time that's still the case with them, I know these motherfuckers are totally deranged. Just anyways. You know what I mean? So, and I hate to say that, but, and I do hope better for you. You know, this is the other day I was thinking about the bleak reality of people that just stare into the fucking, into, you know, what are the celebrities doing? And what is my neighbor doing? You know, this kind of thing, you know? And I was thinking to myself, you know, that's so depressing, you know? And they made me feel like they had infected me with it somehow, you know, while they were just tearing my fucking mind apart, you know. And it dawned on me for a second. It's like, that is so depressing. They are miserable, you know. They truly are miserable, you know. It's, what are the celebrities doing? Oh, my life's kind of sucks. And man, I wish, you know, and this is like how they live, you know. I wish I had that, you know. I wish I was doing what he was doing. I wish I had what the celebrities have. I wish I didn't feel like that when I wish I looked like that, or I wish I had that. You know, like, this is your life, so no wonder everything makes you mad. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, when you see somebody who ain't as fucking miserable as that, then yeah, it's gonna piss you off. You know, and that fucking scares me to ever wind up like that. At one point, I think I may have been a little like that, you know? But not to that fucking extent, you know? So, another thing, I'll just be honest with you, they're trying to piss people off. They definitely are. Because they want that. That's one of the things, like when they reward that with pain, people will like it, you know? Because it triggers a lot of animosity in a lot of people, you know? To see somebody going through that and know what's in the other people's heads. They have some really fucked up shit in mind for Wise County, Decatur, Texas, over some shit like that. You know what I mean? They're talking like killing everybody. And they've kind of gone back on that and said, we're just going to let them believe it. But the thing about it is just, you know, it's just that whole thing, you know what I mean? It's like, we can't stop. You know what I mean? It's like, can you get us something to do? Can you get a hobby? You know what I mean? Or just something to preoccupy yourself with besides that. You know what I mean? There's something else. I know there's something. I know there's something for you to think about besides that. But no. You know what I mean? But no. You know, that's always back to that. It's always back to, but no. You know what I mean? But we're not just going to do that. You know what I mean? We're not just going to do that. You know what I mean? We're not just going to focus on what is going on in our lives. No, we're going to focus on something totally that doesn't even have nothing to fucking do with that. And you can't talk them down. You can't lower them. No, you can't lower them because they won't be lowered. You understand? They won't see it that way. They won't understand that. They refuse to understand that. You understand? They refuse. It's not, oh, I think I can do better than that. Let me try to see what's going on in my life. Let me see what's going on in your life. Let me never think of anything besides how I can get over one on that. Because why? Because of something so stupid. Because I can't see what I'm saying. And this is how I start thinking. You know what I mean? And then I get stuck like this. You know? And they're feeding into that. And so, you know, it's out there to get like that. And I have, but, you know, at some point you got to recognize that you can't just keep staying like that, you know, but they're not going to let me get out of it. You know, it's just it's just pathetic. It's just the pathetic nature of people, man. To see somebody succeeding in a certain type of way, and then it's just so frustrating and infuriating, that it's just you can't get through to them. They're just blind with rage. Let me try to stalk you all the time. And the degree of the way that their mind, their faculties will really engage. You know what I mean? At that point, all faculties are engaged right there. You know what I mean? Over what? You know what I mean? Over what? And we've seen this in in Denver with what they did in Denver. They really put a lot of work into that, a lot. Or the code that they did with my social security number. Somebody had to sit around and think about that. So that's another problem too, is just to witness that. To witness the waste. You know what I mean? To see somebody waste like that. Waste their potential on something like that. You know what I mean? To see the human waste. You know what I mean? I guess it kind of makes me want to just take a fucking flamethrower to humanity like as if I would take it to an ant bed. You know what I mean? Does this help? Will that help? You know what I mean? Because I just don't know what the hell is it going to take for the priorities to go a little bit better than that. So